Am I the a-hole for not asking my mother-in-law nicely to hand over the baby for feeding? Hi, I'm a new mom. Had my son 5 weeks ago. My husband's parents have been staying with us and things have been super overwhelming. Mother-in-law has a habit of taking the baby and refusing to give him back to me. She'd say I'm deliberately ruining her time with him. My son needs feeding every 2 hours and she basically makes me beg her to hand him over to me so I could feed. Last night at 10 p.m., mother-in-law had my son in her arms while sitting on a couch with my husband and his dad. I was exhausted. The baby started crying. I told my mother-in-law to hand him over to me so I could feed him. She refused and I kept asking. My husband starts talking about what a whiny little girl I was to complain that our son is receiving love and cuddles and how I'm using feeding as an excuse to keep the baby away from his mom. I ignored him and told his mom to hand over the baby. She refused and I said I needed to wait a little longer. I got angry at this point. My husband said I could take the baby after I asked his mom nicely. This had me seething. I meanly told his mom to stop being annoying and overbearing and hand him over to me. She looked at me, shocked and hurt. She handed the baby over and ran into the guest room, and my husband gave me a look, then followed her and stayed inside to comfort her. He came into the room while I was feeding my son and started yelling about how disrespectful I was to speak to his mom this way and treat her poorly when all she's doing is showing our son more love than I do. I told him about how she's been taking the baby for hours and preventing me from feeding him properly. He said that 1, our son isn't an object for me to act like I own him, and 2, his mom was doing nothing wrong, and 3, I should have asked nicely instead of being a bitch to his mom and making her cry. I started crying and yelled that I'd go to my mom's place if his parents stay any longer, and he yelled back saying, "Shut the fuck up. You're only acting up because you don't want my parents around. Fuck's wrong with you?" Then walk out. I felt terrible thinking maybe I was rude to his mom, but I also think that I'd hit my limits here. Am I the a-hole for not asking her nicely like my husband wanted? Edit. Some mistakes because my hands are a bit unsteady. Top comments. Here's a comment from Lucy11. Not the a-hole. Pack your gear and take baby to your parents. Rethink your relationship as well. Who the hell speaks to their wife like that, especially after having baby? Protect your mental, physical health at all costs. Here's another comment from Dragon Celica. OP, your husband is prioritizing his mother's emotional wants over your 5-week-old baby's physical needs. Get out now. This is only going to escalate. He's already shown his own child isn't his top priority. That's not normal. That's terrifying. Here's another comment from Fun Independent 9201. Yes. Who the hell berates his wife in front of his parents for a biological necessity and then starts yelling and cussing in a room with a newborn in it? Not the a-hole, but OP needs to get out now, and I hope the husband doesn't get any type of custody. Sometimes the worst in people comes out after a child is born. Here's a reply from Dragon Celica. It is far too common that abusers don't let down the facade of loving spouse until their soon-to-be victim is forever tied to them with a child. If OP's husband didn't show his true colors until the baby arrived, the speed with which he is escalating this is severely alarming. It's for this reason OP needs to leave now. She needs to either have her parents show up, help her pack the necessities, and leave, or if her parents aren't able to, she needs the police to assist in a smooth exit. Next story. Am I the a-hole for rudely inviting my sister-in-law to leave and get some therapy for the way she kept talking about my child using a new account, hoping her sister doesn't find this because I know she's on Reddit. My wife's 32, younger sister 24, is in college in our area. Her lease was temporary where she was living, so she's staying with us while she looks for a new place. Honestly, I, 30 male, am not a big fan of hers. She's kind of bratty, but what really made me not stand her is her attitude with our 10-month-old son. Anytime the subject of my son kids come up, she finds a way to make it about her being child-free. Example 1. When we announced our pregnancies to her family, everyone was happy for us. Her reaction was, "Ew, that's so gross." Then telling us sorry, it's just weird for her thinking about being pregnant and glad that she's never going to. That already put us off and soured the moment. Didn't change throughout my wife's pregnancy, so we ignored her. After our son was born, she threw a fit because my in-laws sent her a couple of pics, and she called my wife asking her to tell their parents not to send her anything because not everyone cares about babies. We weren't the ones who sent it to her, but still mad at us for shoving our baby down her throat. My wife's gotten mad about her attitude. Her folks say she's expressing herself and not to take it personally. When we let her move in, it got worse. If my son cries, she loudly says, "Oh my God, shut him up. See, this is why. Yada yada, won't have kids," etc. He's so annoying. He's so needy. Makes dramatic, gangy noises when we're feeding him fruits and tells us to take him somewhere else for that, which we don't. My wife just tells her to fucking deal with it. I can understand someone personally not liking kids and never wanting any. What I don't is going out of your way to always talk about how much you hate them. Anything my son does, she always has to say something. I don't appreciate that negativity towards my child. Earlier, my son hit his head and started crying. I calmed him down after a minute. Without asking for her opinion, she says, "You guys had months to abort. You did this to yourselves." So I snapped at her that if she hates babies so much, then she's welcome to get the hell out of my house. Don't understand what deep hate she has for kids, but maybe get some therapy, because it's one thing to not like them, it's another to always want to make it known how much you despise them. And that I was tired of her annoying rants while she's eating our food for free, complaining about a baby while she's acting like one herself. So yeah, it was quite a bit what I said. She didn't say anything after, but told my wife. Then their parents. And the reason they think I was a jerk is because I threatened her living situation when she wouldn't have any place to go right now and we're her only option. My wife agrees with me, which triggered an argument with her parents. I get she's still young and dumb, so that's why I'm asking if I'm the a-hole. Now for the top comments, here's a comment from McFly_Throwaway01. Not the a-hole. I'm sorry, but fuck her. She needed a place to stay and she knew a baby lived there, so she has no reason or right to complain. She doesn't get to sit there and make awful statements about your kid and lives and being completely disrespectful in your home for free. Tell your wife that this is your hill to die on. Her sister's actions have consequences, and if her parents don't like it, they can pay for her to come live with them or a hotel room. You don't have to take that kind of abuse in your own home. Your kid doesn't deserve it either. Young child cries about banging head and her first response was that you could have gotten an abortion? Who the hell says that? Here's a reply from McFly_Throwaway01. Also, if her parents think that it's okay for her to behave like this towards their grandchild, then I may not want them around my kid either. Another comment: if parents condone sister-in-law's behavior and upset that OP is maintaining reasonable living standards, then in-laws can take sister-in-law or pay for her hotel.